YouTube, what's going on, y'all? Solution for Kicks back with another video. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and tap that notification button so you too can be a part of the Mighty Four Kicks Brigade. However, I see a problem with my video, so hold 1 second. All right. Aspect was off a little bit. Yeah, I recently found out that I have a pair of mids that are pretty valuable, and they're right here. First off, shout out to I am Lars Young. Make sure y'all follow him for Neo Kicks. He actually did a quick video about these. These are the man. It's kind of washed out. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, this is a little washed out, but maybe I don't know how it looks on your end, but it looks washed out to me. These are the pure platinum Jordan 1 mids, and these are going for $450 last time I checked on StockX. I don't like to use StockX as a litmus test of the value of sneakers. I think the value of a sneaker is really determined by you and how you feel about the shoe. So with that being said, you probably want to know how much did I buy these, how much I bought these for. So the story goes, story time. I was back home in 2017, and I believe I was home for it was 2017, 2018. I can't remember, but I do have a video about this way back in the archives of when I went home. And along the way, y'all know I stopped at various sneaker outlets and stuff. But I went to the Detail Law outlet. If you aren't familiar with Detail Law, they're pretty much along the eastern seaboard, mid-Atlantic down, and into Atlanta. Maybe Houston has one, I'm not sure. But they have a Detail Law outlet outside of Glen Burnie. Is a town called Pasadena, which is south of Baltimore. So I stopped there because I'd never been there before. And I found these. Wonderful Detail Law bag. And I don't have the receipt in here because I think the receipt is in my top 5 did a lot Allen Iverson Reebok box. But I got these. Hopefully y'all can see that. Maybe it's still washed out. But it says $39.99 on here. And the sneaker is worth $450. I'm currently in talks with someone to offload these. So we're going to see how this ends if this person's willing to cop these. And I just recently wore these, if I'm not mistaken, maybe once a year ago, and I wore them recently. But this is a dope sneaker. Like I said, the dude Lars Young, he actually did a much better quick video on this sneaker, and I want to steal his thunder. But I was like, man, I have those, and I can't remember if he said anything about the value of this shoe or not. But I was curious. I was really curious. What's up, P? Gotta check the video. Just saw the notification on it, and yeah, I need to do a video too. And I'm trying to get a concept of how I want to do that particular video. You want to jump on, man? Let me know if you want to jump on. But yeah. So what's been going on? I got a couple of pickups on this way in. Nothing hype beastie. No new release type joints. Just some things I wanted along the way. Yeah, I've been looking for some simple stuff. Like I said, my focus is really going towards different things now. So what I want to talk to you all tonight is about the frustration with online purchasing. Before, we could kind of split down the middle of copying. Well, I won't even say that. Sneakers were normally available, I want to say maybe 60% in stores, 6% online and 40% in stores. I think that's a good litmus test, because some things are online exclusives, or they're just not available in your region, but you can get them online. And with that being said, we have experienced a lot of frustration as of late. Some people have been very fortunate when it comes to the apps, and some people have just flat out clunked. I've told you all before about my challenges via the app route, and I'm not complaining really. It's frustrating, if you will. Is that a complaint? It's just frustrating. So what I've said is that I've only experienced this when it comes to the yeah, bots are definitely winning, man. You know, I can't stress that enough. We said that before. But really, this is if you really wanted to diversify your collection, now's the time. Now's the time because you're showing the retail stores are showing you exactly what it is and how it's going to be. Like I said, some people have been very, very fortunate when it comes to the apps. Shout out to my dude P. He's been really fortunate with that. I haven't, and maybe because I have not purchased enough online because y'all know I'm old school. What the sneakers was popping, J Man is was going. It is very, very, very frustrating. Snooch was popping, man. Hey, I'm working on that. We are going to get into something as soon as I find somebody who's going to do something that's of my standard and quality. And I know you're going to do your part on that as well. But thanks for connecting with me yesterday about, was that yesterday? Yeah, just you know, what the sneakers, just talking about the challenges people are having. And like I said, some people have been very fortunate and some people have struggled with it. I would say I'll struggle with it. And I'm not saying I'm giving up, but I'm going to really not dedicate any energy to trying to get them. And I'm going to go back to my old way of copping sneakers. If like if they fall in my lap, they fall in my lap. I'm cool with that. I'm good. Actually, I've been saving money, by the way, because I haven't gone after a lot of those hype things and been successful, even though I've had the money readily available. Now the problem I have is that I have about 4 empty boxes sitting over here that I need to get rid of. However, I'm not going to get rid of them because, like I said, I want to basically shave the fat on my collection. I was asked a while ago how many pairs of sneakers in my collection. I said I wouldn't say this publicly, but I'm going to say it now. It doesn't matter because it's going to drop based upon what I'm doing. I currently have 278 pairs. Now, P, I told you 277, but I got a pair that came in, and you know, which were the ones you hooked me up with. I didn't count those for some reason, but 278. I stand at 278. Yep, sneakers I passed on, getting for resale, pretty much. Yeah. So if I can get those for resale under, well, not resale, but just under retail, I'm straight with it. Like, all right, I didn't want those then. I didn't like the price. Yeah, 278, you all. And I have a very raggedy video documenting me counting these sneakers, and it just doesn't look good because I got to keep moving the light around because my sneakers are in different places, you know, in my home. So it's going to be hard to do that video because I got to keep moving the lighting, and you know, your camera works differently in different places. You know, especially a closet. It's not super bright lighting in the closet. It's just good enough lighting. So I want to get down to I don't have a hard number, but maybe, you know, so about 100 of the ones I'm really, really going to wear and the ones I really, really like. That's going to be tough, but I do have a lot of sneakers that I have for the sake of having. One, I have 2 pairs sitting right here that I know I can quickly offload for something else because I got them for the sake of having. That's the Reflection of a Champion pack. I said that was like a clunker. It was just the price, and people weren't happy with the price with the Reflection of Champion pack. 2 of those I got from the outlet, so I know they're brand new. I haven't worn them yet. I actually put my foot in both pair, laced them up, never wore them out the house. Just put them on, took them off once I got them laced. I know I can get these back to the outlet and flip those for something that I might want at any time. I've taken a pair of SFs I had for a little over 2 years back, brand new, and I saw a dude at a sneaker show selling them, the exact same shoe. Yeah, and I've gotten away from buying for the sake of buying, but there's been a lot of stuff I really liked looking at my collection. Um, and really, what it is stuff that I've always wanted, and I eventually got them. You know, like I'm looking at a pair of sneakers that I just had on the other day. This is an Air Max 94. Well, the Air Trainer 94. It's an Air Max. It's an Air Max. Now, notice that air unit. Y'all see his oxidation on there too. I should have wiped it off. But notice that air unit, and you see where we got the 270s from. So that's not a new concept. This is 1994, man. I was a senior in high school. I wanted these, couldn't get them for fiduciary reasons, and I was able to get these for like $49.99 in Marshalls. And basically, what I'm doing, I'm trolling you all because Nike put Nike Air on almost everything back then. So, yeah. There's Nike Air on the back. You know, the purists out there. But I like those. Those are dope. Every time I wear them, people are like, man, those are fire. But I don't wear my sneakers for the sake of that. Yeah, 90s, 95, Air Max Plus, definitely my favorites. Even the Air Max 1, I like those. 98s, I'm getting into them. I think I'm going to be on my second pair of 98s in a few days when those come in. A sneaker that I waited on for like 7 months now, and they finally went down to a price that I was okay with. So, yeah, that's somebody hitting me up now about a shoe I'm about to sell. So, yeah, for sure, man. You really gotta watch your hold on a second. I know you see me live. You know, I'll meet you back. All right. All right. People are funny. What I was saying, I forgot. I had a feeling that was gonna happen. But yeah, copping what you like, man. Like a part of my collection is with me traveling around I-10, up 95, you know, across Texas, and just going, ooh, look what I found. Ooh, look what I found, because I could buy them for the sake of copping for copping. And I really said I need to get away from that because looking at what I have, that's tough. So I think one of these racks hold 75 pairs, I think, something like that. Somewhere around 75 pairs, I think. These hold 75 pairs. But 278 is a massive, massive number. And when you see stuff like this, sneakers that have an insane amount of value for, it's a mid. It's a sneaker I paid $39.99 for that retails for $110, and I'm about to let these go for $350. That's mind-boggling. That means you should let go of the sneaker. You've got your wear out of it. I actually had one of my favorite sneakers. The sole has separated on it, but I'm okay with it because I have the Aqua 8s. Look at this, y'all. 10-year-old sneaker. I'm fine with it. I got my wear out of it. That's actually an easy fix, believe it or not. Will I fix it? I don't know. I haven't worn these in a minute since I got my actual Aqua 8s. But wear your sneakers. When stuff like this happens, it doesn't feel as bad when you're wearing your sneakers. It's okay. It's okay. Saw some pictures of a reverse of this low that's coming up. Yeah, you gotta have. Well, no, you didn't. I can't say that. Always think it's a good sneaker to have in your collection. The Aqua 8s. You know, if you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. But I love the Aqua 8s. The Luca joints. Exactly. Speaking of that sneaker, and I said it in my video, if that wasn't attached to Luca's name, nobody will want that mid. That mid would be chilling. There's nothing amazing about it. Um, it's nothing that says, "Hey, buy me." It's just white with some pastel colors with some leather on the back. If they didn't tell you that it was a collaboration with Luka Doncic, nobody would want those, and those sold out instantly. But these, yeah, it's typical mid material. You know, you have the mids that aren't made very well. It's typical mid material. They didn't do anything special edition about them, even though they call them special edition, purely because of the collaboration. But yeah, there's a reverse of this one low coming out, and almost sold this, man. Actually, because it's an 8.5. It's one of the first lows I ever purchased, and I might hold on to these because they're actually going up in price too, which is weird. And I think I've worn these maybe once or twice. Yeah, true, true. But they're nylon. These aren't leather. These are nylon. And I know I got some saturation going on, so they look super super bright. Yep, no Luca, nobody wants them. You know how the sneaker game goes. But yeah, I saw a picture of those lows coming out. Somebody asked me in the video to do a low video, and I was like, I already did one, you know. So that was basically me not putting the tags in that video properly. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, 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 crazy. Um, One thing I wanted to address was these resale apps. At what point did everyone say, because I have to do it, I'm forced to do it, I don't like to do it, where we use GOAT and StockX as a Forex, a NASDAQ uh, valuation check for sneakers. Yeah, it's stiff. It's stiff. Like I know somebody who has them. They were like, you take his name off that quote on the back means absolutely nothing. It's but yeah, what at what point did we say, you know something, we're gonna go with StockX and go as a valuation for our sneakers? Now, in this pure sense, sneakers are a commodity, and we needed something to say these sneakers are worth that, versus saying, hey, well, you can't get them in stores, so you should pay me this for that. Somebody had to come in and do it. But basically, in my opinion, those entities have kind of abused their influence. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They kind of abuse their influence. So now they're able to pretty much dictate the market, and we go with that. I don't like doing that, and here's what you got to be careful with. They'll have sneakers that haven't released yet on their site, and they say from respective sellers, you know, and you're like, who are these people? You don't have a contract with these brands. You're selling a lot of things. Who are these respected sellers, if you will? So they'll have the shoe on there, and based upon the quantity and the demand for the shoe, I think the royal toes, if you will, the broils. I think what's his name? I forgot his name. He went by something else. His name's Chris, but he and his wife do the videos now. They do the wear test thing. Um, I do. I actually have two pair of Converse in my collection. I have the Fast Break, which is part of my alumni pack with the alumni twos, the DMP pack that came out, and I have all black Chucks just to have in there. Yeah. Other than that, I don't really rock with Chucks. I just have the black Chucks for the sake of having black Chucks. They're kind of like a beater if I want them to be, kind of like my all black Vans. But I think the Royals, the Royal Toes came out at 350 before they actually hit. Yeah. So here's the thing I want y'all to look at. I'm all about objectivity, which means I give you the information from both sides. I don't slant and say because has been deemed to be true, we're going to stick with that. I give you the falsehoods, the questionable information, and I give you the facts. So we know that a authorized retail sneaker is valued at XYZ. If you were to go on my favorite word is nefarious, okay, in case you haven't watched the channel, um you go on those sites, you go on a hmm, I don't want to publicize them, but dig deeper past your typical you know how can I put it, crazykicks.ru type site. Go deeper, go past them where they're getting issues from, and it'll give you a good example of how little it costs to make these shoes, because the the seller that supplies the buyer for those sites is selling that shoe around $39-$49 max, depending on the quantity that they have in hand. Exactly. 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 Jay Manning says sneaker hounds bargain to pay out trying to borrow the shoes to put in their shops and to sell them the age of the market up even more. That's what I was getting into. You know what the sneaker says. Facts, Jay Manning. Blunt beats, did anyone manage to get a pair of the True Blue mids for retail? No. Reselling has done something to the shoe game with these manufactured values. CJ, one of the things I think you paid with StockX or Fight Club is the verification. Let's talk about that and have a video on that, CJ. Scroll through is in there. I joked about it, but I was also being serious. It's no way anyone can verify a sneaker. Here's why. There's too many sneakers coming out for you to stay in touch, in tune, to say what's real and what's not. But what they do is stick to what's in demand and say, based upon what I have seen previously before, these are the things I'm looking for. Well, you also have the grades of sneaker. One being pure retail, okay? Not from some consignment, not from some resale guy, not from some boutique or whatever. All right, not that. I'm talking about from the brand to an authorized seller with a license. All right, that shoe. Then under that, okay, you have the UA. Now, once again, got to say what UA is: unauthorized. So, the best way to describe a UA is this. Here's my analogy. You are in school and you take the hallway to class. During that designated time, you're allowed to be in the hallway. But if you aren't authorized to be in the hallway, moving to somewhere else, you're wrong. However, you're in the school, okay? Follow me. Get that concept. It's the same shoe. However, being sold by a factory that does not have an authorized license to sell the shoe. They typically have the exact materials to produce the shoe, but they are not authorized by the brand to sell them. Under that, you have 98s, which means there's a 2% flaw on the shoe. Maybe you catch it, maybe you don't. All right. That is a rep. Okay. That is a rep. That's when you get into the rep side of it. Okay. That's the best way. So I think Tony D2 Wild talked about what's their brand sample, where they send off the template to whoever manufactures their clothing, and the factory makes extra stuff. Appreciated what the sneakers. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. Yeah, it's more of a false insecurity. You have websites that have popped up that guarantee you verification of a sneaker. I would never go out on a limb and say I am a pro at looking at a shoe and saying, oh, these aren't real. All right. I would say I would strike out probably 85% of the time, because especially a Yeezy, unless there's something glaringly wrong with the sneaker, because I don't like Yeezys. So I haven't spent a lot of time doing this to a Yeezy, nor wearing them. So how am I a pro if I haven't seen every sneaker? All right, that they're selling a false sense of peace of mind. True. Anytime you have a mass-produced sneaker, okay, or the deadlines anytime they mess up the deadlines, they shift it back and forth, be prepared. There's gonna be something wrong with your shoe. Hands down. Something wrong with the shoe. My cement threes, I had a lace popped and I bought them from Shoe Palace. All right. Walked in the store, got it. The stitching around the sole, a lace popped because they kept finagling with the shoe. All right. That was during the time everybody was doing the early looks. People were reviewing that sneaker in November, and the sneaker came out, All-Star weekend, February 15th, 17th or something of 2018. And people were showing the shoe in 2017, November. So, yeah. My worst factory faults came straight from Nike. If I had bought some of my pairs, some eBay or another third, I would have sworn they were fakes. Yeah. There's never going to be somebody who has the verification process on lock. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but we have new members in the chat that haven't heard me talk about this at length. Yeah, the Concords. I got glue stains on my Concords. My Breads, same thing. I think they sold something like 3 million pairs of Breads. That was the most sold sneaker Nike Jordan Brand has ever sold. Like, you didn't get your hands on a pair of Bread 11s, you weren't trying. Yeah, glue stains, busted stitching, tongues been looking all weird and stuff like that. Like, they just had to get that shoe out. They had to get it out. It was an in-demand sneaker that was pretty much a general release, but they knew so many people were going to buy it, they weren't going to hang out for very long. It was mind-boggling. So when they're doing that, speed. It's something I tell my daughter. Just because you finish first doesn't mean you're right. So just because you do something really fast doesn't mean it's of high quality. I'm not into that. Quality over quantity. I'd rather have a good amount where most people can get the shoe versus a massive amount and everybody gets the shoe and the quality's crappy. Yeah, it was. Like, I think I got another shoe over here where it was I sold it. My Raptor 4s. Stumbled upon them in the outlet. Glue stains all over the place on those things. Mind-boggling. All right. Then Jordan Brand, Nike finesse people again and changed the tongue and put Drake on it, and people went crazy for those. It's crazy. CJ said exactly, you have some that were perfect and they were so messed up they look fake. Yeah, Camelo 13s. But they had so many of them, they had to throw them out there because it was part of a pack. The alumni pack that they had with the Chris Pauls and the Chris Paul 12s, the Carmelo 13s, the who was that? The Russell Westbrook 10s, which wasn't a bad sneaker. It was just a massive general, and I passed on because I was like, I'm probably not wearing that sneaker enough to appreciate it. Yeah, glue stains all over the place with the Raptor 4. Like, somebody just had a brush and was like, shh, squeeze the shoe together. Shh, shh. Like your first time customizing a sneaker, you're not paying attention. You use the brush and you got paint all over places and lines. That's how they look. I mean, or even worse. It was bad. It was bad. So how do we fix this? And I always tell people, we, the consumer, dictate the market. And we dictate the market via our pockets. if we constantly chase after the shoe over and over again, they're just going to keep upping the prices, and they're going to keep pulsing the releases. You think you missed out, then boom, there's a shock drop. Boom, there's a restock, and it's crazy. Oh, we got the OG in the building. What's up, Ron? Haven't seen you on YouTube in a minute. You know, haven't seen your updates in a minute. Yeah, Ron G, OG the sneaker game. Learned a lot from this guy, watching him document the dark ages of sneaker YouTube. Oh man, I learned a lot about some situations, and it was eye opening. You know. Oh, okay. Dag. Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump back on here, man. Um, always tell people we have some griots of the sneaker culture, and I like to consider Ron G one of those griots because he was around. When people were saying you got to have an iPhone to do sneaker YouTube, that was the phone to have. That was the device to have to record your videos. Yeah, and I knew nothing about that. I really didn't get back into building my collection into diversification. Y'all see Jordans right here, but if you follow the channel, you know I got everything. All right, a little bit of everything. 2014 is really when I started cranking up my collection. I didn't hit YouTube to 2017. So from 2017 back, I wasn't aware that people were on social media talking about sneakers. I was merely doing the casual sneaker thing. I was a sneakerhead, but I wasn't into it on the social media resale, still not into the resale side of it, or sneaker convention, the community aspect of it. I wasn't doing that. Yeah. Yeah, they are trying to scare you with that. And Ron G put out a series. I think you were doing that every week where he talked about the beef, one of the biggest beef for sneaker YouTube that involved Jumpman Bostic, the godfather of the sneaker culture. And I was like glued to this stuff. I was like, man, this is crazy. Because, we were only seeing what was going on now with some of the stuff that happened in 2018, late 2017. Take it for how you take it with that. If you paid attention, you take that with the salt and how much of the grain you take it with. But there was actually something serious back then. And I was like, wow. So what he had me doing, I was watching his videos, but I was also researching it at the same time. And I mean, you had to dig to find bits and pieces of this stuff. And he was putting it out there. I was sitting there with my popcorn like, and it came to that. Wow. Mind-boggling. When people had like clicked up, it was like team heaters, team beaters or something. It was mind-boggling. So y'all know I did the thing about IG scammers, and that's what made me watch OG Ron G's videos, because I was out here taking down IG scammers, and I kind of stumbled upon his stuff, which gave me a little bit more ammunition to go after some of those guys. And hey, I appreciate everybody that respects what I do in that element, where I go after these people. And those of you who are able to get your money back via the things I've told you, you DM me about that. I may not jump on it right away, because I'm not in front of the camera all the time, but I will do my just due. And when I find stuff, I'm going to stay on the that social media platform with you as long as you ask me questions about how to do it. And a lot of times you guys follow up with me and say, hey, I got my money back. Thank you. That person took their page down. And what I want to tell you about is the reason why I have a problem with that is that, I said in the sneakers group I belong to, I used to work with some people whose motto was the oppressor de libre, which is to free the oppressed. And I don't like people being taken advantage of. I don't like being taken advantage because it bothers my my intellectual side of it. Like, how did he get me? You know, I don't like that. So a buddy of mine spent some money to help me prove my point, and I appreciate him with helping me figure out who this particular scammer was, and that's how I was able to do that. You know, but yeah, Ron G's videos kind of gave me some insight to start figuring out what these people are doing. But with that being said, these scammers know that you have your stimulus checks, and one of the big scams is going on right now is raffles. Not saying everybody that's doing a raffle is scamming, okay? But that is an uptick I'm seeing with raffles. Not once again, not everybody that does a raffle is scamming. Do I have to say it again? Let me drink some water. Not everybody that does a raffle is scamming. However, there's an uptick on scammers using raffles as a mean to separate you from your money because they know teenagers got stimulus checks too. I think if they're 16, 17 years old, they got $500. They want a piece of that. They know a lot of them are going, hey, that's $500. I can get me 2-3 pairs of kicks. All right. Be Lit Reviews. Appreciate you, man. Joshua Calderon. That's exactly why I only gave you a week to 2 weeks. They know when those paychecks come in. No doubt. No doubt. They're watching. They're watching. Much love and rocking lows and mids all day. Ain't no doubt, man. Y'all know me. I'm not going to tell somebody what to wear. What I'll say is, hey, the materials aren't great on this particular pair. However, if you don't mind that, you like the colorway, you're cool with it, it's your money, spend it how you're going to spend it. All right. I'm not going to tell you, hey, don't buy those. If it wasn't a market for it, they wouldn't sell them, obviously. Okay. That's why you have Wish selling all these weird items. If y'all ever watch your social media, you'll see Wish will advertise some odd stuff. You're like, what the heck? Where did that come from? But yeah, no doubt. So, man, I always show love to the people that came before me. That's always, enlightening people. That's staying positive, not getting involved in certain things like that. I always, shout you out for it. And to the people that get involved in certain things, I have no problems with you. I wouldn't speak any mouse upon your name. We haven't had any negative exchanges. I don't deal with that kind of thing. But he's one of the griots of sneaker YouTube, and people might not appreciate what Ron brings because he's taking hiatus from it. Like, I didn't know he had been around that long. When I started watching the video, I was like, man, he's around. Wow. All right. And I think we're kind of close in age too. So I just wasn't on social media like that for quite some time. I was not on social media really until I started doing sneaker YouTube, and I need to do that to kind of expand the channel a little bit. Yeah. But it's always positive, man. Like, I like when people bring different elements to the sneaker YouTube game. And that's one of the things where I won't review certain sneakers, but people say you need to do it because we want your point of view on it. We appreciate that because you don't do certain things or you do certain things. All right. So I'll say I'll review sneakers like that all the time, but I'll skip over stuff. And yeah, we're close. We're close. Yep. A little older than you. I don't have IG yet, really. I want to, but need to do YouTube these things these days. Okay. All right. What's funny? When sneaker YouTubers read the comments, it feels like they're doing this. They're like, they're really reading it, how their brain is processing the information. I get it. Mary had a pair of Jordan Air Force Ones, and they were creased like a mofo. Yeah, they were creased like a mofo. Yeah. So I always crack up when I see that. Like, you don't read like that. You don't. I know you don't read like that. It's okay though. You know? But yeah, always tell people when you jump into the chat, just click on the person's, little avatar and go to their channel and subscribe to them then, because YouTube doesn't like when you put your channel on there or we say subscribe to that person. No doubt. But if you got a channel, be lit reviews, Ron's channel, make sure you go over there, get them back up there, man, because we need people like Ron around, because he holds that historical aspect of sneaker YouTube that a lot of us didn't know about. And being that, he and I are close in age, I was just buying kicks because I liked them. I didn't know about the YouTube thing. I was like, man, this was crazy. I didn't know that thing, about that. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Matter of fact, Ron actually made me interested in the human races, and I found out that they don't agree with my foot once I got my hands on a pair. And now you can get them, for the low if you look around enough. That cage part on the instep, they don't agree with my foot. I can't wear them, but I like them. I like them. Ain't no doubt. No doubt. I'm always going to give people their flowers while they could smell them. I don't like to say, man, I wish I had only did that. Okay. I wish I only had, because you think about family members that you could have done something with and they pass, and you take that guilt with you. So if you don't acknowledge people while they're here to appreciate it, you just taking them for granted, kind of, sort of, Yeah, that cage in there. Now the boost is amazing. The design of it's a dope sneaker with the lacing and stuff like that. You can do a lot with it. But that cage in your instep, oh man. I've had foot injuries too. So, my arches have fallen among other things. So I can't wear certain shoes. Or I can't wear them for a long time. That's the other part. So yeah. 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 Oh man, somebody asked me about cameras. I wish my dude Toebox was on here, because he and I talk about a lot of tech stuff. When you're doing your YouTube channel, infrastructure. I can't stress it enough. Just fixing stuff that actually allows you to put, your vlogs out there, your reviews and your videos, period, helps. People look for quality. Can they hear you? Does it sound, is it acoustically pleasing to your ear? Is the video aesthetically pleasing? You don't have to be in 4K. All right. It's nice to be in 4K, but 1080 will do it. Most people can't tell the difference between 1080 and 720, believe it or not. They just take it for granted. But yeah, investing in infrastructure, especially if you've been doing it for a while and you enjoy doing it. And I will say, the first time you get a Google check, depending on what you got going in your life, invest back into your channel. That's what I did. I invested back in my channel. I was shooting with a Note 3 and Note 4 when I started. Not bad cameras. Not good enough for where we were in 2017. Yep. Yeah, he does. And the thing about it, I'm going to talk about something in that regards to be lit reviews about what Jumpman Bostic does, and probably why he's, not in that 1 million status. But, about this tech stuff, if you get everybody's doing live streams now, so the demand is there. It's price gouging. A Logitech C9020 is the camera I'm using right now. That's my webcam. All right, it's hooked to this laptop. It records in 1080. It streams around, depending on what platform you're doing, almost 1080. All right, when I'm on Zoom, I can get 1080. Not sure about YouTube at times. I've seen it. You can upscale a little bit, but that's not true full high def. But camera wise, just make sure it's a reputable brand. All right, you got the what is that? The Canon GX series. Any any Canon DSLR above a T3, preferably a T5 and above, will get you great picture quality. I'm normally recording on my T6i. That's what I have. I got a T5 as well as my backup, but I need to get that fixed because the battery keeps shutting off. Yeah, everybody's gouging the C90 series. You know, the C900 series. Everybody's gouging that, man, because it has dual mics on it. It sounds pretty good and it has excellent quality. You know, it's kind of like the standard. If you get a C920 or above, you're good with Logitech. But everybody's streaming. You know, everybody's working from home. You know, yeah, the 90s were. I mean, that's my era. All right, like Jay-Z said, you want to bring the 90s at? That's okay. That's where you design me at. A lot of dope stuff out there. But that leads me to, before I get sidetracked, the Jumpman Bostic dynamic. It's a generational thing, and I think he took some time off. Correct me if I'm wrong, from what I was following with. I think he took some time off. But yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I think he took some time off, then he came back. And you know how it is with sneaker YouTube. If you go dormant for about a week, it affects your channel. You have to, and I do it all the time. Y'all know me. I'll go 2-3 weeks sometimes because of life. I'm not that committed to YouTube fully, which I have time. I'm retired. But he took some time off, if I'm not mistaken. Then the generational thing occurred where a lot of the millennials feel like once you reach a certain age, you shouldn't be doing certain things. So there's that element within their generation. Not all of them, okay? But there's some in there who feel like they'll never get old. They feel like once you turn a certain age, you shouldn't be doing certain things. So I think it's that. But I can't think of a retro Jordan that he doesn't have in the storyline behind it. You got to respect that. Okay? Like out where I'm at, I got the big homie, Mr. B. Mr. B is close to what Jumpman Bostic has. And I keep telling him, let me do a documentary on you. He won't do it. You know, he doesn't have any ill will or a trust thing. He feels like, nah, I don't want to do that. I appreciate it. But to be able to put my hands on some of these amazing sneakers, it's artwork. It's a museum. Walking into his setup, it's mind-boggling. Just rows of stuff. I'm like, wow. And his wife helps him with it. She's into sneakers like that. So it's you got to respect that, man. Yeah, the Panasonic 40 cameras are like 400. If you can edit with Premiere Pro, you can make your videos look amazing by color grading. Let me talk about editors. In case y'all didn't know, and y'all probably gonna say, we expect more from you now. I have a degree in radio, TV, and film. I have certification in as well. I had a class in video production, and I had TV, film production, and audio production. So those 3 classes, even our news media class, teaches you very limited video editing. Now, what they don't do is make you take the classes in order. Well, I take that back. Some advisors don't make you take the class in order. So the first editing program you use is Avid. If you have never used Avid and you went straight to Premiere, Final Cut, iMovies, some of the more user-friendly DaVinci, which a lot of people love because it's free and is very robust. I don't think you appreciate editing yet, because Avid was still kind of sort of is the industry standard. It's so many different commands you got to use to do different stuff. I learned on Avid. We could not go to Premiere until we essentially, I won't say mastered Avid, but achieved a good level of competency in Avid before we did Premiere Pro. Now, the problem with Premiere Pro is that you got to have the subscription and all that stuff. And a lot of these programs are doing the monthly thing, because it's a lot of money to be made via the monthly subscription versus somebody buying the program outright. I don't like it. I don't like subscriptions at all. I just want to buy it. And if they upgrade some stuff, I don't want it. I'm fine with that. We're basically saying they take that out, they just upgrade for you. And I really want to say, even some of the more economically friendly video editing programs have a lot of robust features. Like my go-to is For More Wondershare. Now, For More Wondershare was very, very affordable when it came out. It did a lot of powerful stuff, and they messed up. I want to say when they dropped For More 7, they started becoming a mimic of Premiere, and all that user-friendly stuff they took out, and people were upset. And now people got the hang of it because they added so many. It's got some cool features. Also, like the audio sync thing, because if you watch some of my videos and you see me do this, what I'm doing is syncing my audio from my different cameras and stuff. That's why you have the clacker in your film. That's the secondary part. First part is to tell you to sing. The second part is to sync the audio. All right. Yeah. Yeah, he does the like he'll have like the robots and stuff he's fighting, shooting out the helicopter and stuff like that. When his intros run, does some unique stuff with it. You can be as creative as you want to. Now the problem is that with me, I've edited like small TV clips. If you go on Salute America, look that up. Some of my work is on there for my internship. But when I do sneaker videos, a lot of times that deep editing and the color grading and a lot of the camera angles, it doesn't get appreciated. People don't even pay attention. They just want to see the shoot. As dynamic as the video can be. And I've done that. I'm like, all right, I'm putting some effort in it. I'm gonna use multiple cameras. I've used 3 different cameras before to get different angles, overhead shot, key shot, angle shot. And, very few people are like, that was dope. But that's a lot of work for 10 to 15 minutes because I try to keep my videos for that. But yeah, you don't have to break the bank to get your camera stuff right. You don't. Get a decent light set. Like right now, I don't even have my light set up. I got my ceiling light and I got a lamp. That's why everything is, of course, it's not white balance because you really can't white balance on the webcam. That's why it looks washed out right here. But get yourself, a ring light, a little simple one that goes around your cameras. Your key light will go far. You can get a 4-point studio light kit with backdrops for a little over $100 on Amazon. My light set kit was $90, I think, $99 shipped from Amazon that I bought like 2 years ago. And it dramatically increased the quality of my video. Also, the onboard mic with a lot of your cameras is terrible. So you want to make sure your camera has the external, mic jack. So you can put a shotgun mic up there. It helps. Like right now, y'all see this mic right here. Okay. This is Audio Technica. When I had to do audio projects for audio production in college, that was my mic. Because it doesn't sound great on here, but when I run it through Pro Tools, sounds impeccable, amazing. And I was in a closet recording stuff because my clothes gave me a nice sound dampening thing. Yeah, definitely. You got to be able to see, and once you're able to see, you got to cut down on the shadows. And I always tell people, like, how do you know your lighting is good? Look at a person's pupils. If you can see the light in their pupils, the lighting pretty much is on point. All right, you shouldn't have a bunch of shadows, stuff washed out. But you can also light for dramatic effect as well. That's up to you. It's more than just turn the lights on and go, oh, that's bright. We can see that's enough. But yeah, for sure, invest in your infrastructure. So with the current setup I have, shout out to a good friend of mine for hooking me up with the T6i. They purchased a camera and it was too much for them. They thought they was going to be taking a lot of amazing shots with the camera. They realized it was overwhelming, and their iPhone 11 or whatever they had at the time was more than enough. So they sold me the camera at a really good price. So I appreciate them. I got my T5 from a pawn shop for I think $130. I paid $130 for it. That's the backup camera, but it's did what it had to do, and now I have to get it fixed. So, I'm looking at basically 300 right there with the two cameras, which is mind-boggling. Somebody just said 400 Panasonic 4K cameras, like 400. So I'm at 300, 400 with my light set. This mic right here was $40. I don't count my laptops because I already had it. I edit on here. I have a program called Cyberlink Director, which is very robust. I had no clue how powerful Cyberlink Director was. I was like, wow, you can do that in there? Crazy. And it flies under the radar. And it came with this laptop. That's why that tricked me out. So when I found out I had it, I was already editing videos for YouTube before I took my video production course. And I shouldn't have done this because I think my professor graded me harder because he's like, okay, you know how to do this somewhat. And what was I using? I was using Windows Movie Maker back then. That's what I was using. I bought this laptop and I took it to class and I showed him. He's like, oh, this is amazing. You can do this and that. And he was showing me like all the stuff I could do, the color correcting, color grading, the audio stuff you could do, keyframing, the titling animations, things like that, slow-mo, all that stuff was in Cyberlink Director. And it just keeps updating itself with more and more stuff on there. And it's faster. It renders fast. And that's the other part. A lot of people say, oh, it takes too long to render a video. You want to make sure your computer is current enough. I won't say up to date, but current enough in the hardware can handle these programs you're putting on there. My MacBook is from 2011 and I DJ with that. I have Final Cut Pro X on it, and it's fine. I only got 4 gigabytes of RAM in there, and it says you should have 8. Works fine. No issues. None at all. Another thing, too, is video cards. I found that with all the updates on my PC where I use Filmora Wondershare, my video card needs to be upgraded because it's a hog. It'll just start flashing out. And plus, my monitor is pretty big. I got like a 27-inch monitor. I can split into different screens. But yeah, infrastructure. It's just like a city. If you don't upgrade the roads and the plumbing and sewage and the power grid, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. Now, I'm not saying go out and spend money, but I'm just saying eventually you have to upgrade your infrastructure and really start delving into what your editing programs can and cannot do and what you want to do. You don't need Photoshop. A lot of people really use Photoshop for their thumbnails. Will it generate more views? Maybe, maybe not. I've had videos like my why do you hate mid videos is almost 70K. That's like my biggest video for my channel. No Photoshop ever. I got a simple thumbnail. All right. You just never know what's going to work sometimes. The algorithm is weird and unpredictable. But stick at it if you're committed to it. That's that. People have relied upon live streams, doing chats. I've heard pros and cons of that, depending on, how they want to monetize your videos. You go back in there, do a little editing, add some stuff. Maybe it'll bump it up in numbers. But my live streams traditionally have not done as much as an edited video. And I have a video where I'm trolling myself where I say, I don't feel like editing the video. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They'll go live stream because they don't want to edit the video. And that's fine. But my next video, I think I need to put this up there. is because my dude who got me the sneakers, he just dropped his video, and he had 2 pairs of these. I'm from Baltimore originally. I live in San Antonio, so y'all know I love purple. Gotta have that purple deal right there, man. But these are fire. People had, you know something? I'm gonna give you a little tip about generating views. Yeah, that's good. I see everybody subbing to each other. That's good stuff. I'll give you a tip about views. The more compelling, provocative, and downright negative you are, people love negativity. Either they want to feed into it, they want to debate it, or they're just curious about negativity. So the more provocative, compelling, questionable, and downright negative you are in your titles, the more views you tend to get. Is that's just how humans are. You know, that's how humans are. When every video you have, you make it your business to diss a sneaker, like you don't like anything. I'm like, why do you have sneakers? You know, why do you have sneakers if you don't like anything, but somehow you're still copping sneakers? I never understood that. You know, yeah, no doubt, positivity, man. Dylan Baker, welcome. What's popping? That's one thing too. On my channel, you can't curse in the comments and always have like helpful review comments. I laugh. I'm like, clearly you're new to the channel, and you want to get stuff rolling. You want me to go back and forth with you. I don't do that. I'm too old for stuff like that. Like I always say, there are plenty of platforms where people will entertain you. Okay. Some people say trolls are good for your ecosystem. Exactly. Exactly. If you're negative, you'll get 1,000 views. People will go just to thumbs down the channel, you know, just to thumbs down the video. They love it. You know, I'm bored. What do we got here? Oh, I don't like that. You know, your videos are trash. I don't know why you said that. You know, Jordan, the shorty, appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm surprised my nephew hasn't popped up. He finessed me into a pair of sneakers, y'all. He wears my same size now, and he basically guilted me into giving him a pair of sneakers. And it's my nephew's son, so my second nephew. His dad told me not to do that again. But yeah, negativity, man. I've watched channels where I just go over there just to see, like, maybe, just maybe, they'll say something nice about the shoe. I'm not dissing him. What is his name? The Sneaker Addict, DJ Delps. He's been around for a long time. One of my favorite sneakers that came out, thought the concept was dope, was the Spider-Man Jordan 1s. I love 3M. You know, it's got the 3M speckles on it. And he slammed that shoe. I don't know if he bought it or not, or he was able to just get his hands on it to review it. I was like, what do you like? Yeah. Using him as his example. You know, yeah, I try not to you know, mention that gentleman. It, because he's built this, that was his path. Some people realize, you know, if I do this, I'll get all the views. You know, I'm so to the left with things. People want to see what I have to say about it. They were. The Chicago. They did go up, then they bottomed down. Um, you know, you could probably still get them for retail. You know, if you will. It's crazy. And people spent a lot of time hating that sneaker because it was a mid. I think it's a dope concept. You know, and here's the thing. Let me explain to y'all about mids and why people. One of the elements why people don't. I'm beating that course. I'm making more glue. All right, we got glue. Y'all want glue? I'm gonna give you glue. The mid concept is this: it has always been an alternative to the retro OG high. That was its purpose. It was not designed to be an affordable option and an economically uh, option to the Jordan 1 series. They say it's going to cost less because we're putting different materials on them, and it's a smaller shoe, so you don't need more. You don't need the same material. You know exactly. I don't curse on my channel at all. My daughter watches my channel. And some of her friends, they'll pop in and watch it. They think this is cool. Um, but yeah, that was the mid. It was designed to be an alternative. So if you release the Chicago 1, why would you have the exact shoe in the mid version when you have the low that came out and did that already? So what they'll do is flip the color blocking around. And it's always been an accompanied shoe. So when they do these unofficial packs, like when I've said this before, when the Concord 11s dropped again, they did a Concord mid. People didn't see the correlation between the shoe. They said, "Oh, it's a mid," and they wonder why it was a special edition because it was part of the Concord pack. They had other shoes. They had a Spizike that was in the Concord colorway that nobody wanted. They did that, but they realized they were making money. Yeah, yeah, they're doing a special edition because they're doing the collaborations and they're putting better materials on a lot of them. And they still have the 110 models out there. They still have those, the 115, 110 models out there. They're still there for if you want those. But when you start talking about the better materials and the collaboration, you're going to see 120, 125, sometimes 130 because they're putting better materials on it. Simple as that. The pine green mid ones changed everything. Well, actually, I take that back. The Riverwalk mids that everybody called the South Beach mids. That was a sneaker that changed everything in 2018. Then the pine green changed it. Well, the gym red, then the pine green changed everything with the mids. It's just the way it is. People are buying them as much as people diss them. They're buying them. Like these. This is reselling for 450. I'm selling this for 350. It's used. Somebody wanted it. They saw, a video and a post that I made about these. So I had to clean them up for them and everything. So somebody's buying these pure platinum mids. There's a market for them. That's why they make them. Simple as that. Okay. Yeah. So it is ways of kind of garnering views. Like what video did I did? The bloodlines. That's a video I think is approaching like 10,000 views. I said, was it too redundant? And because that was a provocative title, you know, people was like, "Oh, what do you have to say about that?" Now, it's nothing wrong with the bloodlines. It had some of the best material on the Jordan ones that have been released in the last year. Some of the best materials on the bloodline one. The problem was that it was too much that had come out, and the colorway. There's too many similar colorways that was surrounding it. It is. It is. And people have, like I said in the video, they hate it because it was available. That's why. If that sneaker was limited, oh, people would love it. They would love it. You know? They would love it. That's all. It was because they could buy it. That's all it was. It was everybody could, I don't want those. Everybody have them. So what? It's how you're wearing the shoe. That leather on there is amazing. Now, people like to grade leather quality on a sneaker based upon the shattered backboard thing. I would say the Spider-Man Chicago ones might have better leather overall on it. I've actually have those in hand. I would say it's better quality on those versus the shattered backboards, and I've touched both. All right, that's just me. Yeah, hype is king. It really, nobody's buying the shoe because in the sneaker game, the majority of people buying the shoe because a bigger name compelled them to buy the shoe, not because they really like the shoe. Yeah, the Luka Don. We talk about the Luka Doncic joints. Like you take his name off and nobody wants it. The mid that I'm looking to cop that I'm watching the price on is the mid face tasm. Y'all remember those? The fearless face tasms. I want those. That was actually I think it was a woman's release, but it's got the nice pull. It's a different mid. It's designed a little different. It's got the pull tab on it and stuff. I like pull tabs. That's a cool feature that people take for granted. Most people don't even use it to put their shoe on. You know, back in the day we used to have shoe horns. Yeah. Yeah, the Lucas flew off there. Like I said, you take his name off, they chill. They do nothing. Matter of fact, there's a low that's kind of like that. I think it's for women. It's kind of like the Lucas. People didn't want. Yeah. The whole Fearless pack for the most part was crazy. The only one that nobody really chased were, I forgot the actual street name for them. They were the black, red, and white ones with the little jewel swoosh on them. Yeah, people they're out there. They're available. I think they're on sale too. That was the only ones out of the Fearless pack that didn't do really well because they'll have a pack when you have a massive pack like that. I think the Fearless pack was about 12 sneakers. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. They'll have at least one or two that are on the more general side of it where people would get, and they know that. They pretty much know that. Seldom does the whole pack when there's a lot of sneakers like that um, run out of the stores. It's just too many shoes. And that's the thing. If you look and on my video, if you go and rewatch it or watch it for the first time, read the comments. Matter of fact, don't even watch, just read the comments. And the people who are really adamant about about disliking the shoe, very few of them give you valid points. They get emotional about it. They they say rhetorical things and they dance around it. Because everything I've said about why most people don't like the sneaker is validated. One, the materials. Two, somebody told you not to like it. And three, because it's affordable. It's available. That's it. So because that you want to throw the immaturity level and say it was a broke boy sneaker. If I'm buying something dope, I don't have to pay that crazy price. Why not? I'm always about, saving some coins. Exactly. Because of his injury. Somebody said that. And I was cool with it until I realized they didn't watch the whole video and they tried to be slightly disrespectful. They said this is why you don't, know what he wore or something. That's why you don't know your Jordans. I was like, you didn't watch this video, did you? Matter of fact, you haven't watched any of these videos. So I just kind of dismissed it and let it be. But he did. Because he had an injury and he had him cut a little lower. He said it was digging to the side of his leg or something. Heck, a lot of people thought the sneaker until now he was wearing the airships. A lot of people didn't even know that. And he wore like a Chicago Air Commander or something. It had like the strap on the forefoot. He wore those for a little bit. A lot of people didn't know that. And they released those and people hated on them because there was nobody pushing the story behind that sneaker. You know, the Air Commander, I think it was called. It had a strap on the front. Red, white, and black sneaker. Pictures out there and everything of him in. Matter of fact, he's in a picture with his mom in the sweatsuit wearing those. Yeah, and I have the new Loves. And that sneaker was available. Nobody was talking about that sneaker until the YouTubers started going crazy. That sneaker was in military exchange stores for $90. And guess what? They are crease machines. I wore them once, no force field, no sneaker shield, no nothing in them. And I got a nice crease in them. First time I wore them, and they were a gift, a Father's Day gift in 2017. Crease machines, same mid material. Oh, man, this material, it sucks. That's what the new Loves were. The material was not that great. But because of the hype behind it, people went nuts. People buy what the hype beast steered them towards, not what they like. They didn't even know what they like. Back in the day, you went to the stores and pieced your fist before. Exactly. Now what people do, they go on Instagram, Twitter, and or somebody's YouTube and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear that. So you got a bunch of teammates running around. Got a bunch of teammates. I just joked about this earlier. I talked about where I live. Not really known for fashion. All right, on a general sense. If it's polo, they're in it, or some hype beast stuff. They'll be out in a social place, and you might as well throw them a ball. No sense of individuality at all, because they need somebody to I call it justifying your fresh. You need somebody to validate what you have on. That's one reason why I stopped doing my fit of the day thing back on social media. I stopped doing it a long time ago because people just didn't understand the process behind it. Yeah. Like I was finding dunks in like Ross and Marshall in 2017. Nobody was wearing them. Matter of fact, the pigeon dunks were popping up in Ross and Marshalls for a while. The pigeon dunks. But now you got a Travis Scott that did a collaboration. Now everybody wants them again. They had the Purple Lobster releasing again. Now everybody wants them. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just like Vans. I always tell the story. If you look at my Vans video, I tell you the story how Vans became popular again. Nobody was wearing Vans back in the day if you were a skateboarder. You were wearing Airwalks. Airwalks were the sneaker of choice for skateboarders and BMX riders. That's what they wore. And then, nobody was really skateboarding like that. The group The Pack came out. I think they were from like Oakland or something. And they made the song, about their Vans and how you lace them up. They started creeping up in popularity. But it wasn't until Lil Wayne started wearing them and doing the skateboard thing, everybody started wearing Vans. I like Vans because they're affordable. My daughter likes Vans. If it wasn't for my daughter, I wouldn't be wearing Vans. Simple as that. Yep, Vision Streetwear. Vision Streetwear. And a lot of kids think Thrasher is new. Thrasher was a magazine. I think it's still out there. Old stuff. Old stuff that's coming back around. Vintage, as we like to call it. Vintage. Yep. Now you can find Airwalks and Payless. Just like you can find Champion in Walmart at one point. It's crazy. Like I said, you need somebody with influence to justify your fresh. Other than that, the average person won't try it. If you look in the comments on that video, you're going to hear, you can kind of tell it's a younger, individual. They'll say things. Well, obviously, they'll tell you, I want to buy these mids. I think they're dope, but they're going to laugh at me in school. And I drop some jewels on them. I give them some advice, some encouragement. Yep. When Misfits was the hype and now nobody wears it. I'm telling you. Now, speaking of David Robinson, the Spurs, I live in San Antonio. Tim Duncan had a pair of foam posits. They're supposed to come back in the fall. They're gonna re-release them. Do you know those Tim Duncan foam posits were in Ross around 2018? Yeah, here in San Antonio. Tim Duncan, you know who he is, obviously. In San Antonio, his sneakers were in Ross. Because why? They don't really rock foam posits. And I asked, I said, why aren't y'all buying these? They were too big for me. I said, why aren't y'all buying these? Man, these are clunky. They're hot. You know how hot it is? Yeah, I know how hot it is here. Yep, the Air Commanders. Those hit. They came in that special box. Those hit outlets. I want to say, when did I see them? I couldn't get a pair. I thought the box was cool. That container that came in. Early 2018. Excuse me. I think they hit outlets out here. And that's the thing. Different regions have different sneaker vibes. San Antonio is still Air Max country. When the stores, the retailers can't get rid of the Air Max, they dump them in this part of the country. All kinds of Air Max will pop up in Ross and Marshalls here. All kinds. The B grades, the overstock, you're going to see them. They pour into there. They still rock Shocks out here. And I'm not dissing San Antonio. What I'm saying is that different places have different vibes. Exactly. Supreme. That's why I don't wear Supreme at all. Won't touch it. Won't touch it. You know, just a $5 t-shirt with a box logo. That's it. I rock Savage just to troll Supreme. Like, y'all crazy. You know, you really mm, mm, mm. One of my YouTube hobbies, like I said, I like to get information from both sides of the spectrum. I watch dudes who do what is it called? Taobao. They do Taobao hauls. And I think the dude's named Jeff. I don't understand Taobao. You know, never tried it. Seems like a very complex way of acquiring replica stuff in a convoluted fashion. Um, but it seems like every week this dude's ordering this massive amount of stuff from there. And basically the gist of it is he's not paying, he's not paying all that money for this stuff that he knows costs like $4 or $5 to make. And I think that's what I was getting from his videos. That's why he does it. And he talks about the quality of it and, what's acceptable and what's not. He doesn't try to fool you and say something else. So I appreciate him letting people know off the rip. Yeah. Yeah. It's just stuff goes in waves. All you need is somebody with influence to constantly put it in your face and people want it. Simple as that. You mark it up. Matter of fact, I talked about the Timberland effect. I have a lot of Timberlands. Matter of fact, one of my first videos to crack the 3,000 view mark was my Timberland video. And I don't even have a lot of those Timberlands anymore because they got old. People saw the video, bought them from me, believe it or not. I live in San Antonio. I might be able to wear my Timbs maybe 4 or 5 times out the year. Even though on the East Coast we rock Timbs all year round, even in the summer with shorts. Just the thing. But out here, since I live here too long and it stays warm and hot pretty much most of the year, can't rock my Timbs like that. So my collection was pretty massive back then. It's crazy how Drake caused the price of Timberlands to go up by $70 from a video. He has a video with Rihanna and he's got all black on and some Timbs. And I said it. I said, these will not be 119, 129 anymore. If you find a pair of Timbs under 200, you're winning. Every so often, matter of fact, they just went on sale for $139, I think, Foot Action. And you cop Tim's off season for a reason. Like I have 3 pairs of Butters. I got a pair I don't care about. I got a pair that I just rock, and I got a pair when I'm, doing some date night kind of stuff and it's kind of cool outside. I keep those fresh. And those pair are like 5 years old. You can't tell. Got a pair of brown ones, got a pair all black ones in the closet. Never worn. Bought them 2.5 years ago. Don't know when I'm going to wear them because it's just never that cool here, you know? But being down from Baltimore originally, I got to have my Timbs. It's part of my arsenal. But like I said, these influencers, either directly or indirectly, triggers interest, and people want to be like people or have stuff like that person because it makes them feel somewhat more acceptable and famous. You know, you're right. Be Lit Reviews. Timberland's a classic. You can't go wrong with the right Timbs. I'll say that. And I talked about that in the video. You gotta have the right Timbs. But it's your money. All right? It's your money. You'll know if you got the wrong Timbs on. All right? You trust me, your feet will let you know. It's crazy. So rap music is why Timberlands are East Coast 90s rap music. It was before Timberlands, it was high techs. That's what DOS effects and everybody was wearing with the vests and the hoodies, coming straight out the sewer. And when everybody was rapping like that, the 90s. You had your visor to the back, with your cigar stuffed in it, growing your dreads out, looking grimy. We've come a long way to super tight jeans and t-shirts. To some of our jeans are tighter than our girlfriends and wives. But that's another topic in itself. Oh man, y'all know when I go live, I try to keep these lives around an hour. We're approaching an hour and a half, and y'all keep throwing stuff in there. Yeah, it's influence. And I'm not mad at them. I hope when they just generally wear stuff, these rappers, the brands see the effect that they have and they do compensate them for that. I hope they do that. I know DOS Effects is probably the biggest reason why Timberlands are in demand the way they are. Shout out to DOS Effects. Shout out to School. That's my bro Derek. That's his cousin. Yeah, they should have gave Timberland. Well, Timberland should have gave him a check, and come to find out they didn't. I found that out, via my boy Derek. He told me, they didn't get anything from Timberland. That's messed up. Appreciate it. All right, be safe out there. So before I get out of here, I'm gonna talk about one thing from a cultural standpoint. Two things. The pandemic had a third order effect that we did not anticipate. We were not prepared for it in the sneaker culture. And that was, what do we do if we cannot acquire the sneakers that we want? Because normally we just say, well, I'll go to the mall and pick them up, or I'll go online. Now we pretty much have been regulated for the most part. There are some stores that are open to procure our sneakers online. And what we found out is that these retailers don't really care because a sale is a sale. And I told y'all that, well, I didn't, did I say it? No, I said in somebody else's live. A sale is a sale. And that came from a major brand. I'm not going to say what brand it is. I refuse to say they are because he and I were having a candid discussion in the store. He actually sat down with me. And in not so many words, he was saying a sale is a sale, as long as it's done legally. So what that translates as is, if you're able to purchase your shoe online, great. If you didn't, because somebody else did. We learned that. the those of us who would like for them to combat bots or other nefarious ways of circumventing the online purchasing of sneakers, securing your pair online, I don't think they're going to do anything about it because a sale is a sale. Once again, they aren't going to do that. Some retailers, their servers, we found that their servers can't handle the massive amount of traffic that's hitting their site. And they should have known with some of these releases that have triggered massive shutdowns of their sites and locking up finish line. They should have addressed that. But as long as people are getting through and selling, that's fine. Some brands have a inline system that kind of gives you a false sense of security that you're able to purchase your sneakers. Shoe City. And it tells you these shoes have sold out. You're just sitting there waiting. Shoe Palace has a timer, so if you click off of it, you basically go to the back of the line. I think that's kind of cool via the bot thing. If it's working, I don't know. But we found out a lot of things that these retailers had no desire to address. They're kind of forced to do it. And I'll say I know they're forced to do something about it because I had an order canceled. And I emailed them because they did not tell me my order was canceled. And I talked about this on another platform. I inquired about it. And they were like, sorry, this, and that. 2 days later, I got a coupon. We apologize. My thing is, can I use that coupon for anything that you're selling? Which would be my next question. Because you inconvenienced me. I could have went via another retailer for that. And yeah, like my dude P-Town said, I should do a rating video on the online experience with some of these retailers. And I don't want to get in the business of bashing retail brands. But I think looking at a lot of my videos and the content I put out, I think I'm able to do that in a professional manner without disrespectfully crushing somebody's brand and coming off as you suck. All right. I don't want to do that. I want to say that you need to improve upon some things. So I'm mentally crafting how I'm going to actually, I have a video, something like that I never released. So I need to review the footage. Yeah, sneakers app, a lot to be desired with them. Be lit reviews. I think once the stimulus money dries up and jobs are gone, prices will fall back. The patience is a virtue. I wish people use money for wiser for their sake. True. Being that I'm older, business gets handled on whatever front it is, then I buy a sneaker. Simple as that. It's a luxury to me. It's not a must. If I miss out on a sneaker, y'all know I'm kind of like, all right, whatever. I don't get emotional about it, real or unreal, like some sneaker YouTubers do to generate the views. That's cool. All right. But it's not that big of a deal. It's just a shoe at the end of the day. Jordan Shorty, Goat app is my favorite. Since they partnered with Flight Club, you can do the drop off and get the $5 other than StockX, which gets caught selling fake stuff. Oh man. I was also asked to do a StockX versus GOAT thing. And I could do that because I was trying to purchase a very simple sneaker from StockX and it turned into a very negative experience. GOAT, you better have some patience sometimes. But it wasn't an unpleasant experience. I was shocked I was able to get the shoe for the price and the condition that was in. It was one of my Grails. It was the original Laney 5s. And, the dude said slightly worn, creasing. I got the shoe and I was like, when did you wear these? The sole was dirty. It basically like he wore them maybe once or twice and that was it. No crease and nothing like that. Yeah. But, the whole trusted buyer thing. Who are these people? You know, seller, buyer, whatever it is they use, Jordan the Shorty. But you're right. You're right. So I think I will do the customer service experience via some of these retailers. Yeah, yeah, that's the fact. And that's one thing I'll say. Goat clearly has that niche within the resale market right there. Now, once you navigate the fees and all that stuff, they got to make their money. It's up to you whether it's worth it or not. You know, and that's what I'm weighing. If I want to put a lot of these shoes on, the Goat app or use other platforms and sell these sneakers, what I don't want to do is direct sales. I'm not going to get into that because right now, I want to have a situation on my hands because people are looking for an opportunity. So I'd rather not use like the offer up kind of thing. Yeah. But that's one element we've seen with the pandemic. The other part we're seeing is how creative can you be? Via that one part of sneaker YouTube is essentially gone, and that's vlogging. There's not much to vlog about. You might have a store that's open, and Mike Rich did a video where he went. I think it was Athlete's Foot, and the store looked like they had just opened for the first time. They didn't have much stock out there, and the stuff that they had out, the average sneaker YouTuber probably didn't want to see those items because they had been out for so long, or it's just a sneaker that nobody really desired. They're going to sell at some point, but it wasn't like, oh yeah, I want those. So that element has been affected. The other part is, a lot of people that are on the peripheral of the sneaker culture, they have their opinions about what we do. They view it as wasteful, irresponsible, and pointless. I could say that about a gentleman's place of leisure. And I've had this conversation, over adult beverage with some peers. And they said, they were always posting themselves taking trips. And the first thing they said, for the price of this trip, you bought some Jordans. They weren't talking about me. They were talking about other people. And I didn't say anything. But once we got face to face, I showed them something. And unfortunately, the only tools I could use were GOAT and StockX. And I didn't have a pair of the shoes on that I used. I said, you talk about how people view sneakers as irresponsible. It's a waste and things like that. It's just a shoe. And I showed them. So how much these are worth used? Well, who's going to buy them? I said, if it's posted, there's a demand for the shoe, but you're wearing them. I said, you claim to know about artwork. All right. The value of something is what we put upon it via demand and interest. What I find is when I pick up now, lines are always there. Love Cop and Film last 2 weekends. They're selling before store hours say open, first come, first serve. Because they try to secure a sale, a sale is a sale to them. They have inventory that they need to get off because their stuff's still coming in. Their backlog. They have they're short staff at a lot of these distribution points. That's why people's orders are being dropped. And that's the thing. So back to that point before I move on to your question, Jordan Shorty. People say that we're irresponsible and stuff like that. And I show them these are commodities. All right. If anytime I needed $200+ I got it probably sitting right here via one shoe. Think about that for a second. So it's investment. Oh, I didn't see that. So I took a trip to Vegas. And that trip was basically financed via some shoes that I no longer wore. Think about that. So what's your favorite? Oh, the other part is they like to show the lines of people standing outside for that. And one thing I don't do is lines and campouts. I don't do that. If I got to go through all that, I don't really want the shoe. I'm not into that. I'm from the old school where I walked in, I picked up, and I left. That's that. Other than that, I'll find the shoe at some other point. But they always call that irresponsible because what they like to show is the negativity of people buying shoes, people fighting and arguing, and some shooting or somebody being harmed because they had a shoe, and they like to blame Michael Jordan for it. Or people say Michael Jordan invests in prisons and it's the wrong Michael Jordan. Research people. But we get to Jordan Shorty's question, what's your favorite Jordans of all time? It is the Chicago. All right, the Chicago OG High. Why? Because I actually owned those as a kid. My dad bought them for me as a birthday gift. I talked about that several times. It's one of my Grails that I'll be adding to my collection when they get re-released in the near future. After that, it's the bread, then the Aqua 8s, which I have over there, then the Jordan 5 Laney, the original one. So those are my 4 Grails out there. And do you have the sneaker collection? I have the Laneys and I have the Aqua 8s in my collection. The other 2, I don't. I don't have the Breads or the Chicagos in my collection. Be looking to secure those in the near future. Now, could have gotten them? Yes. I have limits. They're prices I will not pay for a sneaker. I'm that serious to me. If I get them, I get them, but I have limits. That's just the way I see it. I have limits. The most I would pay for a sneaker is $230. That's it. And I felt somewhat guilty about that. I haven't even worn the shoe yet. When it came out, tax and everything, it was like $230. So those are my favorite ones in my collection. I love 4s. I didn't always like 4s. But now I like 4s. They look great. One of my low key Grails are the Cause 4s, the gray and black, the gray pair and the black. I think that is a beautiful sneaker. There's amazing collaboration. Quality is impeccable. The closest thing I have to the Cause is the Flyknit 3s. Do I have them up here somewhere? They're probably buried on the shelf somewhere, but I do have the Flyknit 3s. Love those things. That's a beautiful sneaker. Very, very well made. Yeah, I have I have the black and gold. What's up, IO taking? I have the black and gold Pro Strongs. That video, believe it or not, did well. And that was a video that let people know that I'm not a hype beast. I'm not into the hype. I wear what I wear and I'll review stuff that interests me. That video actually is done really well. The Vin Bakers Pro Strongs. Look up Vin Baker. That's where they came from. So the Jordan 4s is my first Jordan 89. I had some issues. Here it is right here with that sneaker. And shout out to my dude Lucci Street Kicks with both from Baltimore. This is the sneaker that turned me away from wearing J's for a while because we had some serious violence go on over the sneaker back home in Baltimore. A kid's best friend killed him and dumped his body in the woods by Fort Meade in Odenton, Maryland. Fort Meade. I used to be stationed at Fort Meade, and these are unworn. I hate saying dead stock. I had worn these, and that's part of subconsciously why I haven't worn these because that still sticks in my head. Like I did not want any retro Jordans after that because I felt like it was going to make me a target for some crime. I mean, people getting robbed, on the train, sending people home in their socks. You walk out the store, somebody waiting for you. It was crazy. It's crazy. Make sure you hit that like button, sub up to each other. It's a community. It takes a village to keep this moving. First Jordan were a mint 10 in middle school. Okay. All right. Got the Luka Doncic mid. Everybody's talking about the Luka Doncic mids in size 9 and their fresh weight and Nike shit. My personal size 12. Man, all right, cool. Like I told people earlier, I wasn't a fan of those. You know, I saw pictures of them. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But those are moving. Like I told you, people are buying mids, despite people have things to say about them. Love the blue motorsport, the retro fours. Cool. Now, the reason why I wasn't really rocking with fours is because shout out to my dudes from Shoe Crew. If y'all saw my last video, I had the Shoe Crew. No, it was on another platform. I had a Shoe Crew T-shirt on. My dude Matt, he loves fours, but let me grab the shoe again. And one thing you gotta be cautious of. That's why you wear your shoes. It's not like a hypocrite. I need to get around to wearing these. This midsole will begin to crack. This part right here. That's why you gotta really get your wear out of these fours. That gets brittle, and next thing you know, your shoe is done for. So wear your shoes. All right. Even I. All right, we're almost down to 15 minutes. I'm gonna shut this down to 2 hours, y'all. The Motorsport Retro 4s. Haven't seen those in a minute. One shoe I want to talk about. Oh man, I wish I could show y'all a picture of that shoe. They're releasing a Jordan 3 white and black cement like they did the Homage to Home bred in Chicago. Well, let me take that back. I just sold my alternate Motorsport 4s at a sneaker show. They were 8.5, and normally I can wear 8.5 and 4s, but I don't know what was up with those. I hated to let those go, but I had to because they were just uncomfortable. Yeah, really going to bed. Just like the good convo, it seems hard to find a lot of positive talk with you too these days, so it's refreshing. I'm subbed up. Yeah, definitely appreciate it. We don't get into that over here. Be lit reviews. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming through. You come back. Appreciate you. Now we'll say about the Motorsport 4s, had they put the leather that they put on the alternates, people would like the Motorsport 4s a little more because the leather on those were a little hard. And it was a letdown because remember they had the Pure Monies that had impeccable leather on to the point where no pair looked the same. Even your shoes look different. That's how great the leather was on the Pure Money 4s. But yeah, we all got our favorites. Like I haven't worn my infrared 6s. Those are up here somewhere. Oh, here's a sneaker. Shout out to every sneaker YouTuber in San Antonio for this sneaker right here I'm about to show you. Everybody calls this the South Beach Jordan 8. Wrong. Every so often, sneaker YouTubers from San Antonio will have this sneaker, will post it. And I like when they do that to correct people. This is actually the Riverwalk 8. And I wish I had my receipt in here. I don't think I do. I got the bag. Maybe I do have it in here. But I want to say my receipt actually says Riverwalk 8 on it. If I'm not mistaken. That's a coupon I didn't use. I was terrible about that. Is this the right? Yep, right here. Man, I wish. Hold on. Just to show y'all. All right. Y'all can quote me on this. We got this. It's being recorded for perpetuity purposes. All right. Y'all gonna see the discount and everything. Let me move forward on the camera. Hope y'all can see that. Is it washed out? Oh, man. Let me slide around. But it says right on there, washed out. Look at that. Y'all see it? Riverwalk 8. See that? Riverwalk. Clearly, not South Beach. Okay? Stop calling this sneaker the South Beach 8. I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all, man. All right? I don't know how many times. And this is a sneaker. You can call them the All-Star 96 because that's where it came from. So why is it not the South Beach 8? First off, the colors are different. Get your hands on a pair of any South Beach colorway and look at this turquoise green. All right, the actual name of it is Turbo Green. Okay, which they have another sneaker called Turbo Green that doesn't look like this, but I get it. And the South Beach colorway does not have this habanero color in here, this pepper color, habanero pepper color. So where did they get this from? Yeah, they are fire, Jordan Short. If you ever been to San Antonio, we had the Riverwalk, and they had these umbrellas, and the umbrellas are these colors lining the Riverwalk in most areas. Exactly. Because it was so similar, and that was the hype thing to say. People said that. That's why the mid version of this that came out. That was the first mid that just flew off the shelves, and people could not understand it. Even the new loves hung around. I hate saying set. They hung around for a bit, but the Riverwalk mids flew off the shelf. The leather was incredible. You only find like huge sizes out there, but the leather on these 8s are by far the best leather, in my opinion, out of all the 8s. Super tumbled, looks great. And if you aren't sure what I just said, there's a picture of Michael Jordan in the 96 All-Star game dunking with this colored jersey on. It was in San Antonio. That's where it came from. Yeah. The Riverwalk 8s. You saw the receipt. I showed you all. So next time somebody says, "Oh, those are Riverwalk, those are the South Beach 8s," correct them. Point them to this video and say, "Hey, he just showed you all why that's not it." Because his receipt says it. Foot Locker, Nike says it. And you know the other part that's really crazy? Even people in San Antonio were calling these the South Beach 8. I've been to Miami a couple of times, and this is not the color blocking I saw, Jordan Shorty. You know, even in the little Havana area and everything, this is not what I saw at all. They got some nice pastel colors, Art Deco type stuff, but this is not what I saw when I was there at all. You know, even up to Hialeah and Doral, this is not what I saw at all. Coral Gables, I didn't see this at all. So, yeah, y'all need to stop it, man. That's what hype does. They had to attach it to something. And they said, "Oh, yeah, those are the South Beach 8s." And I was like, that's not the right color. Especially this part, this habanero right here. Why would they add that when they know that's a very, very iconic color blocking that they use? But once again, if you get your hands on these, man, you're going to love them. They even gave you a couple of lacing options. I've seen people double up the laces. I think mine came, yeah, they came with the white laces, and I put the turbo green ones in there. I might go pink in one shoe and the other shoe, but this is a dope shoe. 8s are very, very comfortable. Now, truth be told, not all retro J's are comfortable. And Michael Jordan told you that in the documentary. Somebody told me I need to talk about that. I think I'm going to save that for the actual video. Yeah, they are. It's coming out, the sweater colorway. Yep, like the 7s. That's coming out. I saw it. I saw the picture of it. That's dope. It's very mid 90s. And they got that from he had a sweater like that. Then they marketed. He was doing an interview. I think he had his sleeves pushed up with that sweater. Then he came out when doing the Dream Team Olympic run. They actually had like some attire with that. He had the shorts and the shirt. You know, he wore that quite a bit. He was marketing Nike Jordan brand hard back then with a lot of that stuff. So that's how you had the Barcelona Knights, and all that stuff. The Bordeaux's, of course, the Olympic colorway dropped. I like those. BX, what's going on? Yeah, that was that the Concorde trip? He was on the plane. I think he was on the Concorde or something like that. Oh, there he is. The toe box, man. I was just talking about you earlier, man. In a good manner. In a good manner, as always. It's about time for one of our long conversations, Clinton. But yeah, I'm gonna have to shut this down. If I'll keep on. I'll keep on. I'll give y'all a preview of a video I'm working on. But I said I wanted to wait until it's done because everybody's jumping on the wave. Now, my video is going to be a little different because I was a late teen. No, during the height of the double three-peat, I was a teenager going into adulthood. Well, actually, I was adult already. Now think about it. Yeah, at the end of my middle school years to the time I joined the Army. My first year, yeah. My second year in the Army. So that was the run with him retiring and all that stuff. That 90 to 98 run, those 8 years. So I was alive for that. All right. I got to watch his games, even when I was younger. Like I said, I had the Chicago's. So I have a real time perspective on what I was seeing. So what I saw in the documentary was them presenting answers to questions that I had. I always wondered. I was like, oh, that's what was going on. Because obviously we didn't have social media back then. The news was the news. And you had leaks, and they got into that too. So those are some of the things that I covered. The meteoric rise of the Bulls, period. Michael Jordan leading that. And I like to say at the end of this documentary, one thing they're going to accomplish that he is the greatest. And there will, in the foreseeable future, never be a player like that ever. Because the NBA won't operate in the manner that they did when he was playing. They'll never let that happen again. All right. It was professional, very technical, defensive street ball going on out there. It was crazy. Yeah, no doubt. I always appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm like David Letterman tonight, which is a very dope Jordan 1 Hive that was a massive general release that I just let slip. There's some good material on the Lettermans. He's the GOAT, hands down. And what it is that you have these pundits and analysts and talking heads who need material. And for years, there's a video on YouTube where the media needed the next somebody to replace Michael, somebody to replace him, because we'd never seen a talent like this before. This all around great player. This wasn't just great offensively, wasn't great defensively, could do it all, who elevated his team at all costs. You watch him miss the playoffs, make the playoffs, get kicked out of the playoffs, overcome his nemesis, retire, come back, lose in the conference final, only to come back the next year bigger, stronger, and better. And they just ripped through the NBA and changed the NBA forever on the world platform. He didn't jump a team. He knew I won't get over the Knicks, the Pistons until I learn how to play and get surrounded with good players. My dad and brother were huge MJ fans, so big that's why they named me Jordan, and my cousin's name is Michael. His middle name is Jordan. My dad brought me to the sneaker world. Love it. Legacy. Hands down, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. And I always tell people, you can't debate 6 finals, 6 wins. You can discuss 11 finals with only 3 wins, and it took for you to leave a team to get 2 of them and come back. So, then you had a player come off the bench and lock you down. So I don't know. And you know something? I'm not a LeBron hater at all. Shout out to OG Rafa. He's like the biggest LeBron stan. I hope you're watching this too, Rafa. The biggest LeBron stan, but he's young. He wasn't old enough to experience MJ. When MJ was retiring, I think I don't know if he was even born yet. So the only thing he knows is YouTube clips and his sneakers. And that's a lot of the generation now that have started with LeBron because it's what's being thrown in their face. They're living during his time. They weren't around for MJ and the amazing stuff that he did. They're only seeing the amazing part of LeBron, So that's what in your face. So the media has always had this narrative that we must replace Michael Jordan. Somebody has to come along to replace Michael Jordan. The closest thing we had to a possible replacement was the late great Kobe Bryant. And no disrespect to his legacy, but Kobe was great because he mimicked greatness. Right? They say that the sheerest and most grateful form of flattery, of flattery is imitation. And MJ said it. Kobe is great because he stole all my moves. And he told you in his eulogy when he got up and talked that nobody knew behind the scenes that Kobe was picking Michael's brain, asking him for tips and what must he do. So Mamba mentality came from the sheer ruthlessness that MJ exhibited on the court to win by any means necessary. That's it. I'm 15, so I sort of grew up watching LeBron, and my dad physically went to Jordan's games. We've seen him and Bron play. My dad confirms that Jordan is a great LeBron. P.S. My dad is both MJ and Bron fan. That's fine. And I tell people, I am not a LeBron hater. All right. But when we get into these comparisons, it's you can't do it. It was a different era. 6 wins, no losses in the finals. Defensive player, different style of basketball. That killer instinct. And I think that's clearly what separates LeBron and MJ is that you better give me the ball in crunch time where LeBron will facilitate. Maybe, is that a knock on him? Is that his style? Perhaps. But if you claim to be the greatest, I think when the situation arises, you demand the opportunity to show your greatness. That's it. That's it. It's just like when I played flag football for all those years in the Army, and I went from being the center who hardly caught the ball my first 2 years, even though I was probably the fastest guy on the field, but they were playing buddy ball. BX, you probably know about this being in the Army, intramural sports. You don't give the ball to the dude that just showed up unless you have no choice. All those people left. Then I was there and people were like, man, we actually got to give him the ball. Went from center to running back. We actually ran the option because if you run the option properly in flag football, it's almost undefendable. As long as you got that chemistry between, it's like Lamar and Mark Ingram. You got the chemistry, you can't stop it. You just got to be in shape. Then I wound up playing defense and playing defensive end. Just totally destroy people's offenses because I knew how to set the edge and I knew how to rush in at a certain angle. And me being short and kind of a big guy, it was hard to block me. I know I either got a penalty or I got to you or disrupted the play. It wasn't until I had somebody across from me and the right quarterback is when I started winning all the time. That was it. I knew that. I was allowed to take over games and stuff like that. But when I played on, a lesser talented team, the weight kind of came on me. Like, hey, if he doesn't get his yards and pick up first downs for us or catch the ball sometimes or, get these sacks or disrupt plays, we're not going to win, and it wore me down. I wound up getting hurt a lot, so you had to understand it's other people on the field and you got to get them to do their part. Some people are limited in their talent, so you get them to do certain things. And that's the part Steve Kerr was talking about where he said the fight with MJ, it got some dissension and mistrust out the way. And after that, Mike knew on that perimeter, give it to Kerr. Purdue as well. Play your part. And that's the thing with Braun. I think he trusts his teammates earlier, but he wasn't a closer. And that's what kept him from truly being able to, in my opinion, to have that conversation with him and Mike. Yeah, it was different, very, very physical. And that's the thing too. The clearest distinction, well, two clear distinctions between the NBA then and now: defense, hand check. You could literally ride the guy around the court on a hand check. The other part was the 3-point shot. The 3-point shot was like if it was there. All right. Teams would take maybe 9 shots in a game. Other than that, it was mid-range, close to the rim, dunk, layup. That's it. That's it. It was like, oh, you got a 3 open? Take it. Now you got teams that's built around the 3. Golden State, Houston. Houston lives and dies by the 3. Period. Most underrated team, in my opinion, is the 04 Pistons. They beat a stacked Lakers team with not only Kobe, but also Shaq, but no one saw it coming. That series was facts. Facts. Rip and Ben Wallace. They balled. And remember, Rip Hamilton is a disciple of MJ. He played with them. The game was more physical back then. Now the game is soft and more strict. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure Jordan scored 50 points in 3 different decades. Possibly. I think so. If I'm not mistaken, he dropped 53 as a Wizard. Yeah. Exactly. It's everybody's like this. I mean, you would drive through the paint and knew that you would get clothesline, shoved, grabbed, and taken down. Now these guys barely touch you. They flopping. Vlade Divac, Tony Parker, Ginobili. Oh my goodness. That stuff they brought from FIBA, it was horrible. Shout out to Tony Kukoc. He didn't do that jump. I think because what they did to him in the Olympics, Mike and Pippen hazed him. Yeah. Clinton Rose, I'm an 80s child. Players like Oakley, Barkley, real bullies, no players. They won't have it. And here's what happened, Clinton and everyone else. The moment the NBA said we can't do this anymore was the Malice in the Palace. When you had, what was it, Pistons and Pacers, and people fighting the fans, Ron Artest and those guys fighting the fans up in Detroit, that's when they're like, that's it. The rules changed. But then also another dynamic is the cultivation process in AAU. I hated watching the McDonald's All-Star Classic because it was a dunk fest and no defense. It was dudes running up and down the court, maybe a 3 point, but the AU ball, three, 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 isolation, 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 three, three, three. That's what killed it. And you wouldn't see 120 points unless it was a triple overtime back in the 80s and 90s. 82-78 game was kind of the normal because somebody had 12 rebounds and 5 blocks and 6 steals. Maybe 2 players had it. It was very up close and personal. It was very how used to say in Army, coffee breath close. Somebody literally on you. You can't do that now. That's why you're seeing these guys so wide open, because teams are afraid of a 4-point play. They're afraid of it. The question is, how would Bron do in the 90s? Would he dominate better than Jordan, or would Jordan just shut Bron up like MJ did to Big D's with Shaq? If you take the Bron style that we see now into the 90s, not as dominant, because he's not used to people being on him. You take his temperament of what we have now and place him in the 90s with that style of defense, we would have he'd been an all-star. He'd been an all-star. Not as often, though. Would he be forced to play more defense? I think he's one of the better chase down blockers. I think that will translate over. But I think defensively, people leaning on him and stuff like that, the way he plays now, no. I think for as big as he is, he should be way more physical, closer to the rim. As big and powerful as he is, he's basically an NFL tight end playing basketball. That finesse that he has now, I think it translates over. I think the fact that defense was literally defensive, it was up close, Mike could shut you down, with his hand speed and his technique and stuff like that. Or he just hand him off the Pip, which people forget. Like, Pip was maybe one of the greatest, well, not maybe, he is one of the greatest two-way players ever, along with Mike. Those long arms, the quickness. Yeah, facilitating. I don't think that him being hit like that would go well with him. Imagine playing against somebody like Dennis Rodman, who just smothered you. You go up, he's right there. Somebody that studied your dribble tendencies next to the basket. People always said Rodman was, this oddball, but he's one of probably the smartest defensive player ever, in the Hispanic league. I don't take anything from, Bill Russell, in that smaller league. Things about MJ was that made NBA legends and Hall of Famers like Carl. Yeah, I mean, he literally put smears on top 50 players ever careers. Literally, you have a stain. You got an MVP, no championship at all. Your jersey is in the rafters, no championship. Why? Because you had to go through the Bulls with MJ. You don't have an Olympic ring because players don't want to play with you. Olympic medal, stuff like that. There was no jumping teams to win championships. There was none of that. There was no big three. You drafted, you traded for need. That's it. It worked out for you. That's all. It was none of that stuff. Well, I'm going to hold out and see what happens. I'm going to go to this team for you to get me a ring. I want to win a ring with my homies. There was dislike, utter, I don't like you, back then, which was super competitive. It was, you know, it was. Imagine, I always tell people, if Reinsdorf and Kraus weren't so egomaniacal and all about money making first, you had the greatest show on television right there. You're talking about 10 rings straight. They were set up for that. You had Tex, who created the triangle offense. You had Phil Jackson, who was the the metaphysical, um, mental, emotional manager of the team. You had all these role players. It was a factory. It was, you got traded to the Bulls, and it's like, either you get with the culture or you get on. Period. You get offered bigger money, and you're like, all right, I got my rings. I'm gonna get paid. Grant. You know, Uh, hey, somebody else to come in. Hey, we're bringing in this guy, and this is what he does. I mean, you had Dennis Rodman, who averaged 4.9 points, but he had games where he had like 19 rebounds and 10 blocks, no points, and he was fine with that. You can't get that in the NBA now. What do you want me to do? Even when I played a little basketball, unit level type stuff, I used to tell my guys on my team, "Hey, I got 6 fouls." All right. I was a defender because I was not a shooter. You know, I was quick so I could drive the lane, but I could dish it off and stuff like that. But I wasn't a shooter. I knew what I was there for. They had a quick player. I went in there and defended them, until I fouled out. That's it. But you come in and you absorb the culture and say, something, I'm here to win. I want to win. I know if I'm in the Eastern Conference, I'm not going to win because of these guys. And that's what the whole bullying MJ uh, engaged in was. You're not just going to come here and go, oh, yeah, I'm with the Bulls. You're going to earn it. 6 rings, 6 finals. Yep. I always say 10. 10. You take away Jerry Krause and Reisendorf and Phil Stays, and they pay Pip, and you keep the rest of those guys, that's 10 rings. Because it was no team progressively getting close like that. Maybe the Magic, but you saw what happened when Mike came back, focused, basketball ready. So I think the 2 rings while he was gone and he came back, then 2 more afterwards. 10 straight. 10 straight. I was only Bulls fan, and my family, everybody else was Laker fan, Magic Johnson, since I was 8 years old. And I remember I was in middle school. It was his run up to meeting the Lakers in the finals in '91, and my cousin, he was a diehard Lakers fan. Like, he hated the Pistons because the Pistons had knocked off the Lakers and stuff. He was cheering for the Celtics because he knew the Lakers could beat the Celtics. I told him, I said, if they ever get him some help, the Bulls are going to win like at least 2. He was like, get out of here. They can't get past the Pistons. You saw what happened. And they were saying the same thing. He's a scorer. He's a scorer. He's a scorer. He can't do it. He can't do it. Yeah, because the previous coach will just like give Mike the ball and get out the way. The rest of y'all are decent enough. You got to surround people with talent. That's just the way it works. And it's amazing. I don't think we'll see anything like that again, ever. And a lot of times that's what separates the great ones from the really, really good ones. Well, the GOAT from the greats. Killer instinct, whatever it takes. When you get on a plane and you tell your teammates, I only brought one suit. We ain't coming back out here. You got to back that up. Or you have a former teammate. I love the BJ Anderson story because I love BJ. Um, Amazing shooter, dribbler, facilitator. When he got traded to the Hornets, um, yeah, that's true. That's true. His brother Larry. His brother. That's a true story about Larry. That's true. Um, I have a book. I wish I had it in here. He talks about that in his book, not the Jordan Rules book. It's a book that goes a little deeper, but he talks about him and his brother battling and toughing him up and stuff like that. In the fights. But Larry was the star, the school age star before Mike took off his senior year in high school. But you know, that that will to win is incredible, man. But the BJ Armstrong, excuse me, BJ Armstrong story of him going to the Hornets and saying, "Hey, I played against them. I know the offense. I know what they're doing," and him lighting up Chicago in that game. And you could see the look on Mike's face, like, "I know what to do to you." Just the look of disgust, like that death stare, like I want to kill you, like you know. And he goes off the next game, and just it was stuff like that. He would who said it? Charles Barkley said he would create, and this is before they fell out. He said Mike would create these tensions between you two that didn't exist, so you have this mental edge over you. Like it would be something he didn't like the way this is me talking now. It would be something trivial. Like he didn't like how you chew your gum on the court or how you laced your sneakers, and he would use that to gain some mental edge over you. That's a killer right there, man. You know, that's a killer. You can't. It's hard to ingrain that type of mentality on a playing field and court into players. Like, how do you get into that? Only Kobe delved into the mental aspect, the Mamba mentality, which you see he clearly borrowed from Michael Jordan. And like I said, that doesn't take anything away from the late great Kobe Bryant at all. It was the student and the master. You know, and he wanted to learn from the best. Like this is the guy. You know? And that's the part that bothers me too, where people throw LeBron over Kobe, who clearly won more and was more dominant, in my opinion, than LeBron ever was. He's got the rings to prove it. I think Allen Iverson said it the best. He was like, "Why y'all keep leaving the Mamba out of this? The Mamba was cold, and you're talking about one of the greatest point guards ever, one of probably the best pound for pound basketball player ever to touch the court, and that's me. I loved Allen Iverson, loved him because he was so relentless. Like it was no way somebody of that stature should invoke fear in other players slashing through the paint, knowing he was going to get clobbered. Best final series of all time opinion is 2016 because we're on the fact that um it was a lot of other stuff, and that's what taints that series. It's one of the more memorable series for me, but if you ever said it was a conspiracy, and I'm not big on that, that one clearly made you um question the NBA. I think they silenced Aisha Curry because she put out there is rigged. The whole sudden suspension of Draymond, you know, it was just a very, very weird series. Like, what is going on here? Like they had to complete the "I came back to win" story for LeBron. That's my conspiracy behind it. But it was a very, very odd, odd situation. I think Draymond not being suspended changes that series. Would the Cavs have won? I don't know. Maybe would have been way more competitive because it like that situation just took the steam out of Golden State clearly. Then they came back the next year and you saw they had a problem with that. Yeah, I mean the best. I mean Kyrie is one of the greatest dribblers, but everybody sleep on the dude, and that's my man from UTEP, University of Texas El Paso, the UTEP two step, Tim Hardaway, nasty dribbler, had people stumbling, sliding, all that stuff. Doesn't get a lot of credit, but Tim Hardaway was dope. His son was pretty good. Um, who else? Sham God, you know, it's a dribble named after him, the Sham God. You know, it's and people don't put a lot of importance on being able to being a great ball handler because what a nice ball handling player gives you is the ability to create a shot by creating space. That was the point of the crossover being developed. Yeah, Kimball Walker. That being able to create separation between you and the defender to back them up. All right. I mean, you had MJ had the infamous, step slide. Then everybody created to the step back. He had the step slide to get you moving. Then he could set up, and basically hold the ball to the last second to line himself up. I always called it the LRF. He was basically sighting himself up to get his target in. So that's what the stop and pop thing was. All right, I got you moving, you out the way. Boom. You know, let me get my shot right. Boom. Before then, everybody was like, I see it. I'm going up. Shoot. Mike was like, you know, it was hard to defend. You know, a lot of people didn't like Mike's slide crossover thing because they felt like he was carrying because he did. I don't know if y'all just you see it right here. He did that to the ball, then brought it back. They were talking about that when I was a kid. You know, is that a carry? Travel because it slide that right there. And the league was like, well, he's still moving. So it's not. His foot placement and all that stuff. He's still moving, about to go into the process of dribbling. He didn't stop and pick it back up. Yeah, a lot of good dribblers, and people just take it for granted until somebody's put on skates. You don't necessarily have to stumble somebody, or send them sliding to be an excellent dribbler. It's can you get out of trouble, you know, and can you create a passing lane or create a shot? More so, create a shot off the dribble. That was the point of the crossover, you know, for real. It did. Like everybody was looking for that super fast, smallish point guard, that slasher. Everybody was looking for that, the Kimball Walkers and stuff like that. You see they're almost clones of AI because the point guard is obviously the quarterback of the team. And that's kind of changed a little bit with the point forward thing that LeBron does, because they want to generate maximum, output from him. But everyone was looking for that slasher, to speed up the flow of the game guy to create more shots. Before it was bring the ball up, set it up, pass, best shot, penetrate. You know, now it's faster, more opportunities. Yeah, A lot of people don't give the franchise a lot of credit, man. I'm from Baltimore, so Stevie franchise, University of Maryland Terp. He could dunk. He had a nice shot. He was breaking ankles out there. He was very entertaining, and everybody just remembers, whatever he went through once he got out of basketball. But the franchise was nasty, and he could throw it now. A lot of point guards weren't dunking it like that. Yeah, Kyrie's defense is trash, and he actually made a joke about Steph Curry's. Kyrie plays half-hearted defense. I'm going with Kyrie off that speed, you know, off the speed and the fluidity of his dribble. That jump looks effortless. You know, is very globetrotterish. It seems like. Yeah, you had that dunking fast point guard that wasn't afraid to penetrate, and now you just don't see that. You don't see it. You know. Um, Westbrook for I mean you look at how big he is, how much ground he covers. Like it's like Westbrook takes about 6 steps and he's down in the court. It seems like sometimes in a blur, in a blur. I mean Curry for his ability to place a shot from pretty much half court, half it's 3 6 feet beyond the arc and being able to get there is pretty nasty. Well, you got to respect that. Oh man, I forgot all about D Rose. Woo! That '08, 2010, 2011 run he had. I think 2008, 20 that 3 year run he had was mind boggling. Had he not got hurt, and we see what he's doing now, clearly would have been mentioned as a surefire Hall of Famer. Now it's like, yeah, he'll get in. Might not be the first time, but yeah, he'll get in. But the NBA pretty much takes anybody with a successful career, seems like. You had a notable career, seems like you get in the Hall of Fame. You know, yeah, Reggie Miller, lethal, lethal. That is somebody that you had to definitely get up on and beat on a little bit because he would get hot. Like he's one of the best street shooters out there. Just don't let that dude hit more than 3 in a row, and it is over. It's like that dude gets calibrated, and he's on. Like yeah, you know. And that was back when the NBA was trash talk city, super super competitive. I mean, if you sat in that front row, you were paying for those seats, and you were one of those fanatics like Spike Lee or somebody, you got talked to. Yeah. I mean, remember the old NBA Jam? I don't know if some of y'all are around for Genesis. It's like Reggie Miller would just stay on fire. You had to literally like shove him, just get up on him and beat up on him. If not, he would just knock down 24, 30 points on you with ease. That's tough because the way things are, like you got players whose numbers are juiced because of the reliance on the three. Because, well, I take that back. the evolution of the game to um, long range shooting, where the 3 point is a very, very key element of the game, where teams look for it all the time. It's kind of hard to say who was the best shooter. Do you give it to somebody that was nice mid range? His numbers up there because he was a nice mid range shooter. You know, do you give it to somebody that's uh, a massive 3 point shooter? You know, it's crazy. Yeah, Sugar Ray. Now, here's the part that a lot of young people forget about with Sugar Ray, that he got game. Sugar Ray was a a very close to the rim kind of player. He was dunking it. He was down there. Then the Ray that everybody really remembers is the Heat Ray, who was like Mr. Clutch. You know, that's because he changed. He realized he couldn't keep that physical style of play up for the rest of his career. Exactly. Exactly. Braun misses that shot. They kick it out to Sugar Ray and he nails it. They lose it. The Spurs take them. Hands down. And that's the part that ticked me off about that whole big three in Miami thing. The Bosch, Wade, and Braun. I was like, they had a big four. You know, you got to put Ray Allen in there because Ray was killing people all year, but he wasn't getting the fanfare. And the thing about it, Ray was calibrating before the game. They were saying he was shooting like 200 shots before each game. So he get locked in. Hands down. You're right, Joshua. He was. I mean, to see him as being like one of the high flyers of the NBA, decent, pretty good defender, to morph into one of the most lethal long range shooters, period. Mid range, 3 point. He was there. You know, he was money with it. Yeah, he was different, man. I love when players evolve their game to give themselves additional weapons or lengthen their career. And when they involve their game is for the betterment of their team. They're like, so I can't play like that anymore. I'm going to rely on this, because I can't do that all the time. But you see them basically lead up to it. They stop relying on pure physical attributes. It's kind of like Ray Lewis, his last 3 years of playing with the Ravens. You could clearly see that he had lost his step. But what kept him in plays was he watched film. And a smart player is still a very effective player in the NFL because you know where you need to be at key times. Yeah. Oh man. It really comes down to who's being relied upon. And right now is Zion. Zion's in the perfect position where he's gonna get his numbers because he's that dude with the Pelicans. Um Luca, I mean, he's buzzing. Um They're trying to build a little bit around him. Plus, he kind of shocked everybody this year, with those numbers before everything got shut down. Ja Morant, um, kind of just people forgot about him. That's the thing. People forgot about him. It was like watching sports. It was like, who's that? That's how I took it as when I was watching. I was like, this dude's nice. And the commentators are kind of like Ja Morant. Not like Ja Morant. They were like, oh yeah, Ja Morant. Another great game. Trey is another one where his numbers are going to be there just because of the team isn't very good and they have to rely on him. You know? Yeah. I was about to say that if he stays healthy, he's such a big guy and the force. We already saw him busting shoes. He's already had injury issues. You being big like that and moving takes a toll on your body. Trust me, it does. All right, I'm 5'7.5". I am 195 pounds. Okay. I developed a back issue when I was in the army, like in the last quarter of my 20 years. When I hit year 16, I just kind of fell off the cliff, which means that was like my last year playing football. I just couldn't do it anymore. And what I found out talking to my orthopedist, you're designed to carry a certain amount of weight. You can be heavier as long as you're doing normal stuff. You can walk around, stand up, all that. The moment you start engaging in impact and fast twitch actions and stuff like that, your musculature and your skeletal makeup may not be able to handle that. So, hey, force upon force, something has to give. So typically your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and worse, your neck. All right. And more so your back. Something has to go. With being that I have a low center of gravity, it was my back. You know, something had to give. So had I stayed around that 165, 170, which was my typical supposed to be weight, and not bulk up like that, I've been fine. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he slims down. I mean, that might be part of his game, just being big and this mountain of a man, and it's hard to move him. But a slimmer, way more fit, muscle up some more, rock him up. I think he'll be better suited, and it just comes down to his training and what the Pelicans advise him to do. He might have to evolve his game a little more. Yeah, yeah. Lighten up, drop about 15. 15, but keeps some muscle. Yeah. You think about it. Look at young Shaq. You know how he was just tossing people around. Then you look at the toll, all those dunks, the rebounds, people banging into him, the falls. Eventually, somebody that big and weighing that much, it's physics. You have to understand that when you're running, every time your single foot hits the ground, that's 5 times your body weight. Now, you got to factor into jumping. And of course, the higher you're up, the rate of movement down gets increased dramatically. So, how much force repetitively can those ankles and knees handle along with his back? It takes a toll. Look at Larry Bird. That's what was happening. His back. It takes a toll eventually. Remember that. 5 times your foot strike running. I always used to wonder why when I was in college and I was running, why we did like these barefoot foot drills in the grass. I ran cross country, and I know y'all like, what? Big as you are, much smaller. Very cut, svelte guy. At at a growth spurt. At the time, I was 5'4", 127. But we would run barefoot on the grass. And what it did was prepare our feet for the constant impact. No, no, no. Uh, right now, I think Braun's at the stage of his career. They're trying to surround him with like two good. You saw the whole boogie thing. They're trying to surround him with two really good players. You know, with Anthony Davis. They need like one more good player to kind of take the pressure off him going out and saying, hey, you got to get his, 25 to 35 a night to give us a chance where he can facilitate more. I think that takes his numbers down dramatically where somebody's being relied upon, like Giannis. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it just depends on how much they rely on, the players. You get your numbers. That's what happens. It's not like, okay, this game he had to go off, but typically he's getting 22, 5 to 6 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. Those are all-star numbers. But people want to see scores when you talk about MVP type numbers. They want scores. That's why Harden name is always in the picture because of the scoring. Yeah, it's just here's the thing. Um, the NBA and Major League Baseball are two sports where the crowd does not affect games as much as football. Like only time the crowd really affects an NBA game is key dunks, where clearly the coach has to call a timeout to kill momentum, because the crowd's going wild then. Baseball is it's quiet, but until you watch baseball in Asia, they got cheerleaders and everything. It's an amazing thing to watch baseball in Asia. I saw a baseball game in Korea when I was stationed there, and I was like, wow, they are on their feet. The players a little bit more animated versus this laid back, boring. I've been to several Orioles games, and only time his action is a hit, home run, especially. Nothing really happens with a strikeout. Everybody's just talking and eating. That's it. Hoping to catch a fly ball or something. But football, on the other hand, the crowd gets into it. It affects the other team's offense. The defense plays a little harder because they know they got the crowd causing problems for the other offense. It's that's going to be tough. So I think the NBA could play without the fans. I don't think it would affect them as much. I mean, it would have some effect, you know. But football definitely it's going to look like a scrimmage or something without the fans being there. It just does something, and coaches actually call certain plays because of the fan noise. It's a huge momentum thing. People talk about momentum. It's the crowd noise. How low Jim was on the list, I forgot where they had him, but he was really low. I think he was top 15 to 20. I haven't seen that. I don't because their whole replace MJ narrative. I don't really pay attention to their list too much. It doesn't. It's not my level of validation for a lot of players because of that. I mean, if it came down to the finals with the Bucks and Lakers, the Lakers will win it. I don't think the Bucks are a complete enough team yet to handle that. I would have the Lakers 5-2 in that. Yeah, I don't lit a lot of credibility to their list because you see stuff like, huh? Because they have narratives. They have their own little narratives to generate controversy. See, it's they have to have. We have replaced Michael Jordan. That's the thing. That's always driving the NBA list. They need it. They want it. It's like, hey, it's been 30 years. We got to replace this guy at some point. They need it. Um, the Clippers, they have the talent to take down the Lakers. They just have to play complete games. And this load management thing with Kawhi Leonard, I get it, but the shooting the ball in the NBA is a repetition thing. So you got a guy that's on a roll, or you trying to get him out of the funk, but you like, oh, he's played too many minutes. We got to sit him down, and that kills it a lot of times. Very few players can turn it off and on like that. So I never liked that. This whole load management thing is 82 games. You know, it's not like baseball with pitchers. Another part, when the fans were there, it hurts the fans because you're expecting to see these star players and they chilling on the bench in a suit, taking pictures with the Kardashians and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, you gotta look at the whole trading thing, the dynamics. People that gave up to get Kawhi. You bring in players like this because you want to win, but sometimes it's at the expense of team chemistry that might have been budding and building. You know, that's the thing. But I always say, if one player can destroy your locker room was never tight in the first place. A good player would come in and assimilate into the culture or enhance the culture, not destroy it. That's what I would say. It is. It is. It's very soft. It's very soft. It's no, I'm sorry. You know, is no, I'm sorry. None of that. It's just what it is, man. They don't let them play, you know, physical like that anymore. And then they spread rumors about KD may not even come back to the Nets and stuff like that. It, being that I study media, that's part of my degree. They need these stories to keep people interested and engaged in these leaks and these reaches and all this stuff and everything, and just get people tuned in and generate ratings. I would say to that rumor, why? What's the point? You never played a game for them, and it kind of paints the player in a negative manner, like were you were you finessing your way into a better position via this team and just got paid for nothing? It's just weird. I mean, everybody used to call Kate. called Katie a snake and stuff for him going from OKC to the Warriors because he couldn't beat them and all that stuff. And I mean, here was my start with OKC. Harden didn't want to come off the bench. He felt like he was a star and deserved a shot. Cool. You clearly saw that OKC was on to something because that year, I think it was 2012, 2011, where they ran the Spurs off the court. I mean, they made the Spurs look very geriatric. From that on, I said, "Uh-oh, watch out for these guys." But then the dismantling of the team and the internal rife and stuff like that, somebody had to be the villain, you know. And we'll never really know exactly what transpired with that. I mean, you had Westbrook, KD, you had what's my man that went to the Warriors too. I mean, they had a good, talented team, the right mix of veterans and youth. Like that OKC team should have at least one or two titles, hands down, if managed properly. You know, it is, yeah, loyalty versus business. Do you stay with a team? Look at Pippen. Do you stay with a team where you clearly are a major reason why they're successful for little money, or do you force that team to pay you what you're worth, or you go elsewhere where a new team values your worth? At the end of the day, it's a business. They're going to make their money regardless. You know, it's the same way I viewed the military. I didn't get all emotional and stuff like that when I retired. I was very, very happy. I said I will miss some of the people. I will be replaced. Period. There's no loyalty in this. It's not a two-way street. They're going to replace you, hands down. Exactly. They brought all those guys in there, you know, and it's we just don't know, like, was it really chemistry? Was it poor personal management? Egos. We don't know. I think it was a combination of all three that allowed for a myriad of different stories. And Katie came out as the villain as he abandoned Westbrook. You know, and Russell got to be the victim in all of it. Because Harden left first. And my thing is, why not go to different teams in another conference? Well, now you got to play each other to add to fuel the drama, perceived or not. You know, yeah, it is. Yeah, Ibaka, Serge Ibaka, and yeah, you look at that roster and you say, you know something, they should have at least one or two titles, easy, hands down. But we don't know exactly what happened. Internal transpired out of it, and all the different narratives and the body language on the court and the interviews and all that stuff. We'll always be in the dark about exactly what happened. And that's unfortunate. You know. But all right, y'all. It is approaching 3 hours. I can't remember ever been here that long. It is 1:19 a.m. where I'm at. I appreciate you all for hanging up, staying up super late with me. I'm done, with school. Normally I wouldn't be on here about an hour or two because of that. But and I will have a lecture tomorrow online. I didn't want to be all red eyed and dead. But since I don't have that, I'm on a nice little break. Probably till July if I so choose. Take one more class. It's free. Got a nice little deal here in Texas. But as always, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and tap that notification button. And I appreciate all of you. Jordan Shorty, my man, the Toe Box, aka Clinton, Joshua, everybody that came through, BX. And I appreciate y'all. This was a very Lengthy live. I think we had about 15 people at one point. That's good stuff. But make sure you comment, like, subscribe, tap that like button. And as always, it's not about how much you pay for the sneakers. Why'd you pay that much? And I'm out of here. Boom.